because it's a different perspective. Jefferson got that idea from writers in the century before, principally John Locke during the English Revolution. John Locke wrote that there are there are certain inalienable rights, and they were life, liberty, and property. Life, liberty, and property. And Jefferson took that and said, well, property means the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of economic well-being. But he took the concept of property and expanded it a little bit. But here's where Locke gets this idea from. It started with what was the English Revolution? It was against the authority of the king. What was the problem with the king? Well, the king said, you know what? God made me king, therefore I can do whatever I want. It's God's divine right he gave me to be king. And Locke looked at that and said, now, wait a minute. I don't think God just gave rights to the king. He gave rights to everyone. Everyone created in his image has certain God-given rights. Life. Who gives life to people? God. Therefore, how should we behave? We should honor God with our life. We should not take the life of another. Our life is a gift from God. Therefore, we should show gratitude and thanksgiving to God by living a life that is pleasing to him. Secondly, the gift of liberty. The liberty to do what? The liberty to pursue living a life that glorifies God with no one infringing on your ability to do that. So there's a dimension, a vertical dimension of liberty from God acted out in the horizontal plane of life among others. Okay, so life, liberty, and property. I think this is important these days because we're getting a lot of communists raising their voices. Why is property a God-given right? Well, think about it. God is the creator of everything. You know what that means? He owns everything, which means he owns property. And we're included in his property. So what God reveals in his character as a creator and owner is transferred to us, that we then have the ability to create, to build wealth, to care for our families, and to protect that property from others. So where does government come in then? Well, with the result of sin, life is threatened at every turn. I don't like you, I'm going to kill you. You just do it. Okay? Liberty is threatened. You know what? I need some work. I'm going to enslave you and put you to work for me in my pursuit of happiness. And I'm going to take your property because you know why? I really like your cow. I'm going to take your cow. So government is then what Locke calls a necessary evil. Government in itself doesn't do anything positive. It prevents sinful, fallen human beings from taking advantage of each other and preventing us from imaging God, who made us in the image of God in order to fill that image with the character of God through life, liberty, and property. So what we're seeing now in the political realm is the unpacking of these rights as being somehow subservient to the government. Government comes first, rights come second. This is no different than the Tower of Babel. What was the Tower of Babel? We're going to decide what to do with our lives. We don't care that God gave us life. We're going to do things a different way. He told us to go forth and multiply on the face of the earth. No. We're going to go in the other direction. We're going to come together. That's what we're going to do with our life. We have the freedom to do that. And by the way, guess what? We're going to build our own temple and worship God our own way. We have the liberty to do that. And property, we own everything. They're our bricks. It's our temple. No one's going to tell us we can't do this. So it's the reversal of God's order for our lives at the Tower of Babel. And you're seeing this come to the fore again. Let's gather people together, no more nations, common language, common government, common rule of law, common religion. We're all coming together to undo what God has done, to keep us apart because we are sinful and fallen and need government to protect us from each other. So when we celebrate this country, we're celebrating the founding fathers who saw the divine image imposed on man and said, we're going to establish a nation that protects those God-given rights so that we can reflect the character of God in this nation as a whole and as individuals. So when you take God out of the equation, it all falls apart. It all falls apart. And people just point, well, it's government, it's property, it's life, it's liberty. I can do whatever I want. Without God in the equation, saying this pattern is for us to image God, we become the Antichrist, the reverse of what God meant us to be. So let's stay with celebrating this country as a group of people desiring to emulate God both in government and in our personal lives. Welcome.